Edward's face was kind of weird. He was like this. Imagine being a shareholder. We are having a software release late, and the shareholders are like, "What?"
The stock price, I think, is like €5.29, or like, it is crazy.
Ubisoft came out.
Oh, not again.
I'm I'm saying not again, but not for the same reason. I have to blur out ads on and side again for this topic, definitely. But anyway, Ubisoft came out with their earnings report, and what do you know? It's terrible. It's terrible for the company. The report shows that the company had a 21% reduction of revenue since last year and 70% from year to year. 20%.
Okay.
When we're talking about, in billions of dollars, 20% is a lot of money.
Yeah, definitely.
Okay, so they said that the reduction is due to, and I quote, the software new release schedule and new operating model. Ubisoft commits to pursuing and completing the execution of this transformation over the next financial year, but warns this year is expected to represent a low point in our free cash flow trajectory, along with a software release late and reconstructing costs. This report also confirms 7 projects have now been cancelled, with 6 games delayed. If any of that sounds good news, you are a terrible listener. Okay,
Yeah,
these are the most tragic news. Imagine being a shareholder in this company. Oh yeah, we had a 21% revenue reduction this year, but we're just gonna reconstruct our costs, and we are having a softer release late. And the shareholders are like, "What? What is going on? Why?"
It is crazy. It is like, at the moment, I think it's five. The stock price, I think, is like €5.29, or like, that's crazy.
I'm gonna buy can you check that? Can you check that? Can you check that? How much?
Deep. Let's buy the deep. I think now. Let's buy the deep.
Right before Assassin's Creed Black Flag comes out, you need to buy the dip. Can you check how much the price is at this point of the stock?
I think it's 5 years. That's what I said.
So you can buy two pieces of stock from Ubisoft for a pack of cigarettes in the UK. I think that's a fantastic development in Ubisoft business. I want to argue that is anybody surprised? Like, we talked about this in the previous episode. Ubisoft's game, Ubisoft gave us as little as possible for us to expect with their past 4 or 5 releases in the Ubisoft franchise. They had a great trilogy at first. They had Ezio's adventure with Revelations and Brotherhood. Brotherhood was Altair, right? I think so.
No,
it was Ezio.
No, it was Ezio.
So Ezio was in, yes, of course. We had Ezio's adventures. We had the original trilogy, and then we have Black Flag. Everything after that was mediocre at best. Maybe Origins was good, the,
Do you know what makes me? I'll tell you something. What is really crazy for me is that this company can almost generate 2 billion, almost $2 billion annually, and they can still go very well or very badly. And that shows to me how bloated is this company. You know what I mean? With people that they don't need, or all that. Like I just don't get it. It's other studios they would love to have like 500 annually. You know what I
they're
mean?
they're probably burning literally money. You have to be. Where is this money going to?
Dude, 16,000 people that they have. You know what I
Why?
mean? That's where it goes.
Why? They came out with Assassin's Creed Shadows. That game
Hmm.
was, I don't know. I would say it was mediocre at best. It didn't look good. I mean, the terrain and how the world looked, it was fantastic. But the
As
character,
always.
as always, yes. But the character models, then the
Yeah,
fighting
everything.
animations were not great. They were good, but they were not exceptional or whatever. Everything after Black Flag has been mediocre at best, and those games cannot hold a candle to the original games, to the original trilogy, and it's a shame.
And, and that's why they try to grind, obviously, on remakes and remasters again.
Yeah, of course.
That's the way, you know what I mean? That's the way.
We've said it. I mean, I've said it in the previous episode, but obviously they are recreating Black Flag as an obvious, I wouldn't want to say cash grab, but they are doing it just so they can get a bit of revenue for the
Yeah.
company.
And is and there is some stuff that I really want to discuss about Black Flag. I don't know if you want as well, but the latest gameplays, 7 out of 10, they're good.
Mhm.
And when it comes to story and animations and all that,
Yeah,
it's really weird, bro.
yeah.
It's
You
really
you you
weird.
mentioned that, and I've checked it out. Like
The
the whole
facial
the whole
animations are
game,
weird,
the
dude.
whole the whole game, like apart from the facial expressions, as you saying right now, the game looks great. It looks. I mean, of course, after like
Fantastic, yeah.
I don't know, after 12 or 13 years after the original release, of course the game looks fantastic. But then
Yeah.
you get to the cutscenes, and the facial animations are kind of like, what my first reaction when we were talking about was, why is his face like that? Like, the Edward's face was kind of weird. He was like this. I don't know. I
Yeah,
don't,
dude.
I don't know what's happening, but I'm really bummed out about how this company is moving forward, because they seven projects have been canceled, 6 games have been delayed, and
I'm not
now
surprised.
now we get the financial report, and it's very, very bad. But
Lower than last year.
I'm not. I'm you know I'm bummed out about it, but I'm not surprised. Is anybody surprised? Like,
No one, I think.
we've had the original games, and the trilogy and Ezio's story and Black Flag, and after that we've got nothing. Like, the original creator, well, I mean, one of the original creators, Patrice Desilets, that's his name, worked on the games until maybe I would say like the middle or the end of production of Assassin's Creed 2. And then he saw what Ubisoft wanted to do with the franchise, and he just left because he saw that they wanted to do what they did,
Yeah.
what they
I'm not
actually
I'm not
did
I'm not surprised, dude.
with after with Unity and Syndicate and all those games after that. That's what.
Don't forget that Sandfall
Mhm.
Studios Interactive, I think, the devs behind Clair Obscure, they were working on Ubisoft as well.
Yeah. Okay.
Don't forget that. Like you see that many people they leaving the everything. You know, I mean, they just leaving the company behind because they it becomes it's so massive now. We're talking about 16,000 employees, bro.
Yeah.
16,000 employees. Mind you, that since last year they lay off another like 1,200.
1200. Yeah. It's crazy to
Yeah,
think about it
imagine.
that you have so many employees, but it's different, having devs leave your team and having your, lead creator.
Talent, your main talent,
Uh,
basically. Yeah,
Patrice Desilets was the game. He wasn't part of the team. He wasn't. He came up. I mean, mostly with the idea of the game, of the brotherhood, of
yeah.
how the world was, basically the world building
The
was
creed. Yeah,
his idea. And when he saw that Ubisoft wanted to turn this, to turn these 3 games into 14 games, he left in the middle of production. So,
I'm
I
not
mean,
surprised, dude. I'm not
we
surprised.
got, after he left, we got two memorable games. Okay, we had Assassin's Creed 3, which had, in my opinion, a very, very bad ending because Desolé wasn't there to guide the, development and
Yeah,
writing, of course.
yeah.
Then, after Desmond's story, we had Black Flag, which was great. Okay, it was a
Black
great.
Hole was really great,
It
actually.
was
Yeah,
it was fantastic. It did had its flaws, but it was an overall great experience as a game. And
yeah.
then,
And it was the first game. Sorry to interrupt.
yep.
It was the first game that you could feel that they shifting away from stealth mechanics.
I mean, yeah,
Like
but
you
that,
could see that it wasn't that stealthy as it was the other
yes,
ones. You know
but
what I mean?
that was very good because it tied into the storyline because Edward was not an assassin.
Yeah, it became in the end. But
Yes,
all I'm
but
trying to say is like one of the key aspects of the whole franchise was the stealth game, and from this point on, they just realized that
yeah, I'm just
but
I'm
even
just trying
even
to say
Connor,
that
I mean,
I'm just trying
yeah,
to say that even if they chose that deliberately, it made sense.
it made sense, but not for the franchise.
Of course, yes, yeah. In
Yeah,
in hindsight, it didn't, but it kind of made sense because Edward was not an assassin. But anyway,
yeah, yeah.
um, yeah. After Black Flag, we haven't had any good Assassin's Creed games. Not on the title. I'm
Yeah.
not talking about the title of the game, but Unity, Unity, and don't get me wrong, Odyssey, Odyssey were not Assassin's Creed games,
I
and
know. After Origin, yeah,
yes, and I am. We, we are Greeks, okay? We haven't mentioned that till now, but we are Greeks. We should be proud of. It made sense, right? To be proud of Odyssey. I
yeah.
want nothing to do with Odyssey. I
Rough stuff, rough.
call it a hot take. I don't care. Okay.
It was a good game, but it wasn't Assassin's Creed. Let's say that.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's it.
Personally, I don't like the Assassin's Creed games after Black Flag.
Yeah,
They're not bad
neither do
games.
I.
They are not bad games. They are just not good enough games
Good.
to be called
Yeah,
Assassin's Creed. And they are not good enough games because they are not following, by example, the original trilogy and the other
the
games.
original vision. Yeah,
That's why they are not good
Definitely.
enough. If
I
if
totally
you
agree
if
with
you
you on that.
change the title and make it something else, they would be fantastic games. But they are Assassin's Creed games, and they have to follow the vision. That's simple as that.
Which they haven't done for years.
Of
Yeah.
course, they haven't done for years.
But the same thing happened with Far Cry. The same thing happened with Splinter Cell. I mean, Splinter Cell has already been ditched. Like, can never come back. Yeah,
That's what happens when
it's huge. A huge. It's a very huge studio. Like other studios, they would beg to have their IPs, and they don't have it.
yeah
Like we discussed about Assassin's Creed, Far Cry, Ghost Recon, Splinter Cell, Rayman, which was an amazing platformer back in the day. I mean, they don't even do anything with Rayman as
yeah they
well.
don't do anything. But yeah, but
And
that's what you have. That's what you get when you have the wheel of fortune, and you are just churning out games just for the sake of publishing games. The game has to be
definitely,
good. The game has to be good.
yeah, and and I will say that again. Sometimes some franchises, it's clear when they need to stop. There is nothing wrong to put a tombstone. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
And say this franchise that has come to an end. It's fine. Let everyone have it in their mind as great as it was. Why we need to change the whole vision of the franchise just because we need to farm the name of the franchise. You know, just leave it behind. You have an amazing company, especially back then.
Mhm.
We're talking about Black Flag, right? If they would stop Assassin's Creed, but back in Black Flag days, I'm pretty sure everything else that they would do, everyone would be hyped to play the game. You know what I mean?
Of course.
The new game. It's not like people they're around Ubisoft because I mean nowadays that's what they do anyway. But back then, Ubisoft was a massive company and was they releasing W's after W's after W's. So if you would say, you know what, Assassin's Creed finish, we don't have anything else to do now that Desmond is dead, you know, and maybe the spin-off of a game as Black Flag that as it was, it was a nice game anyway. Close it, make a new IP. How you came up with the idea? That's what I'm saying. Like this decade of 2000s, so many new IPs born. You know what I mean? The other decades that we have, like tens and twenties, especially for Ubisoft. We're talking
Mm.
about Ubisoft, right? They just farming the existing ones. They don't do anything else. They just farming the existing
Have they
franchises.
even released a new IP in like the past 10 years?
They tried to do with the game. I think it was 2017 or 18 when they released Breath of the Wild first, Nintendo, and then after that they released
Oh,
an
the Immortal
Greek
Phoenix one.
mythology,
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
the
yeah, yeah.
Immortal Phoenix Rising, yeah, which was a very decent and nice idea, in my opinion. I was kind of bummed that
It
they
was very
they
interesting.
ditched this. Yeah,
It was very interesting. It wasn't a flop at all. It was a successful game.
I think it was a flop because people didn't bought it. They didn't, not many people buying it because they find it as a cheap copy of Breath of the Wild, which I'm not. I feel a little bit like that, yeah, but it had potential as a franchise.
I mean,
They could improve on this game a lot.
maybe they saw that it wasn't going that well, and then they said that people don't like this, and we should stop.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah.
what can you say about Ubisoft?
Ubisoft, yeah,
Ubisoft things, just
classic.
Ubisoft things.
Uh, and Division, I think, and Division was another new IP that they came up with.
No, that was Tom Clancy's.
Yeah, but it was a Division. The Division they didn't make a Division before.
I mean, yeah, but it's not a new
They had
IP.
the Rainbow Six. They had the Rainbow Six from Tom Clancy. They have the Ghost Recon. So yeah, if you want to actually take the whole like franchise as a whole from books, whatever Tom Clancy was, whatever then yeah, I do get what you're saying, but if we will speak about like how a new idea came up, it came up with the division,
Yeah.
because division was in kind of an MMO kind of a game.
Yes.
I don't
Yes.
know, third person. So yeah, so it was a new idea basically.
Mm.
They haven't made anything like that before, and the crew probably. Yeah,
Oh yeah, the
you
crew.
see, if as we talking, we have new ideas. They make new ideas, which they were kind of successful. That's it.